Hi there. I have a written journal that I'll probably share with you, but you never know. What's on my heart right now is something I wish I could share and have it really be deeply heard. And that's that we create all of our unhappiness, not just 98% of it, all of it. And that any kind of fixing going on has to go on inside. I think cosmos and energy is neutral. There's nothing out there trying to do us harm. And the mind doesn't want to hear such things because the mind is the inventor of the game, of the reality that we find ourselves in. And mind is generally pretty proud of itself, pretty self-satisfied. So it isn't usually open to such things, but that's quite okay. I mean, you can just leave mind behind and step into heart and listen from there. You have a better chance of truly hearing because your happiness is in your own hands. But you have to prove it for yourself. I guess it's something that's been stated in various ways down through the millennia. But I have found it to be the case that even when I'm sitting here and this body is in pain, you know, maybe I got too involved in something I was doing and I forgot to take a pain pill on its proper schedule. And so there's the pain, and it's kind of a misery. It stops me from doing something like this, or from writing a journal, or from even wanting to communicate. I mean, you know, pain has a tendency to shut us down. And yet, my dear friends, it doesn't dim my joy. I'm so happy. I have everything I need or want right here. I have the medication to bring me ease. I have my pillows. I'm a pillow freak. I love down pillows. They're very cuddly. I even as a little kid, would grab up all the pillows in the house and make little pillow forts with them. And maybe a chair. It's just a very cozy thing. So I have that element of coziness. And so, and I have this lovely computer. It's one of the best pain relievers. If you have serious pain, to put on something that brings you joy. And so I lay down and I listen, and I'm telling you, my joy is not dimmed. Can you hear? We're all different, but we're all alike. And so the lovely saying, I don't know where it comes from, what man has done, man can do. We're all equal. And that includes all of the ETs and the angels and all of the beings and the ghosts and the whatever there is. We're all equal. We're all equally source. We're all manifestations of that. as working with humans, we have more opportunity to be this consciously. Now, I say that with hesitance because nature is consciously one and in communion and in touch with each other and with that joy. The trees, the elephants, the plants, the planets, the suns, the molecules, all of it, manifestations of Source. We're free to swim where we will in the great I Am. We are that. And we don't have to go anywhere to do our adventuring either, except within. Everything, all of cosmos, not just the galaxy or the universe, all of cosmos is accessible within. Now, I'm guessing a great deal of letting go is a prerequisite to this. It's not a mind trip, and that's a for sure. But that's okay too. I mean, everything's okay. Can you let it be what it is? Can you allow it to be? I mean, it already is. So where's the point in fighting what is? That seems like it's a lose-lose to me. Why not welcome it instead? Even though it bring pain. It is. You know? What good is fighting what is? How about changing your attitude instead? What you're fighting is within. Your unhappiness is something you're projecting out there. The source of it is in you. I mean, on the one hand, yes, this is the USA, and this is a prison planet, and unfortunately the powers that were seem to have a death grip on the throat of the United States. Many of us are ashamed of what our country has become. It's the bully of the world. Selfish and arrogant and wanting its way. And doing terrible things. Lying through its teeth all the time. And so we hope that the rest of the world realizes that we are among the most oppressed and repressed and abused. So it's not like it's America against the world. It's the powers that were. And I guess they operate largely out of Washington, D.C. and London, or the city of London and Rome. Be that as it may, we are gods, little g gods. And this is nothing to us. A delightful challenge, perhaps. And I know we get dragged down into it just by having to deal with things at times, especially if we allow ourselves, if we're not careful of what media we take in. That's not loving the self. I have learned to be cautious. I mean, it's like once I knew that there were UFOs or identified flying objects, whatever they are, and once I had satisfied myself that these exist, I have no more need to watch all of these things. Oh, great UFOs over Moscow or over China or whatever. I'm not interested. Okay, they exist, I know. And when it comes to the plots and the plans and the strategy and the tactics of the powers that were, yeah, it's important to wake up to those things. Knowledge is power. And once you see how something works, it loses a great deal of power over you, if not all power. It just depends on how you do that dance. You know, how willing are you to make the internal changes necessary to take your power back? How ready are you? And there's no right or wrong, no good or bad with any of it. It's a dance we're doing. And I know this is incomprehensible to some. I remember hearing some things like this back when I was like in my 20s. And I didn't have deep enough contact with myself yet for it to resonate, because it's in all of us. I'm nothing special, or you're just as special, and we're all just as special, and we're all tremendously special, you know? And it's not an either or, it's a both. And the more we do the mind pretzeling thing, by recognizing both sides of the coin, the higher frequency we adopt, or how do I want to say that? We're in a better space. I don't know now if it's the higher frequency or if the wave is more coherent. Doesn't matter, it's just a better thing. It's just yummy, you know? Our joy cannot be taken away from us by any kind of circumstance whatsoever, and that includes the ovens in the concentration camps. Even if they set up FEMA camps here and, you know, do their dirty deeds the way they'd love to, there's no reason to lose your joy. It won't feel as strong, just the way when this body's in pain, it does affect my ability to interact with things. But it doesn't take the joy. That's still there. When you're satisfied, content, at peace with yourself, you have such a phenomenal freedom from any kind of attempted manipulation. So I guess I'm just singing my song. You know how it is. You know best what's right for you, but it's not this part of you that knows it. Not at all. And so it's a relatively easy thing to do. It's an easy enough thing to understand the blessing and the benefit of making the trek from head to heart and letting heart be in charge. Okay, I went on and on. Now, I wrote this a while ago, January 18th, and it was the second one of that day, and the Mayan day was 6 star, or rabbit. So let's see what's here. You know me, I forget. If we're really the creators of our own reality, and I promise you I did not read this before making that intro, that's truly what was on my heart. But as I looked at the journals that I had written and waiting and ready to record, I was surprised by the title of this one, and felt it would probably go along with how I was feeling. So, If we're really the creators of our own reality, then it follows that we must be projecting it, right? It would be coming from the within to manifest on the without. Recently, it has struck me how we're doing just that regarding the Big Bang, projecting how we see things onto what we see out there. Because we think in terms of an antiquated notion of time out on all that exists. We project that notion. We, or our mind, want a nice, neat, orderly story of how things all came to be. Never mind that we are so incorrect, so unreal in our concept of time, that we multiply, we geometrize that unreality out upon all that is. Things require neither beginnings nor endings. They just are. Cycles come and go, of course, but they are embedded in a greater whole. I find my joy is in pondering that whole. Another thing we're busily projecting on the greater reality we perceive is that other intelligences, other beings from out there, must also live on the surface of planets. We're busily in search of such planets, those in that Goldilocks zone, with placement in their solar systems ideal for our sort of avatar entities. Things that make you go, It's more fun, I think, to contemplate those other beings as right now, right here, now here. Parallel universes, much like TV or radio signals, occupy the same now here, with us just dialed in to one at a time. What fun! Are you open to that? Where do your musings take you? Enjoying such musings can be a good time to be on the lookout for worn-out beliefs, the kind just waiting to be pulled from your internal garden of belief. Such are the weeds that narrow and restrict our view. So be as expansive as you like, as expansive as you can, and watch for what pops up. What tries to gainsay your expansion? We're busy projecting all of the time. We all do it. Oh, we do little else. Mind thinks that because it holds this or that belief, it simply is true. It must be. And if that's the case, then it follows its logic while seeking out proof for what it holds true. So mind projects its thoughts out upon simply everything, and then some, making stuff up in support of its beliefs. Well, maybe that's one reason we came into this seemingly God-forsaken dimension, to be empowered to take such fanciful trips and have them seem to manifest for us like that. I don't know. Could be. There are a few rough edges to the picture we're busy creating, though. Ones that most minds don't catch, being still a bit too programmed to spot them. Yet. As we release ourselves from more and more of the shackles of those programmed beliefs, we discover a reality that is unspeakably beyond and above what mind has been projecting and creating. Depending on our level of openness, our acquaintance with emptiness, we're either shocked and upset or absolutely delighted with what we find. One thing I'm glad to have discovered is that the point of it all is the journey, rather than some imaginary journey's end. The point is the moment. That leaves me free and delighted to stick closely with now. I've even let go of the idea that there is some purpose to it all. I find that doesn't harmonize with free will being truly free. I suspect that the purpose is whatever we make it to be. That our freedom is that great. Once set free from the whole idea of some overarching purpose, what a great expansion of freedom is empowered. Freedom is something much bigger than our minds can yet, or maybe ever, comprehend. It's too unlimited. Minds don't care much for what they can't wrap themselves around and or control. We went through the first part of the journey, which was developing the ideas into beliefs. We got that down pat. Show me anyone who is without a vast system of beliefs. Well, we're in another part of the journey now, one that doesn't need to rely on beliefs. Actually, one where beliefs get in the way. So now our challenge and our joy is to shed those same beliefs we worked so hard to create. We find that we built a very small world with our beliefs, one that mind can, with some small effort, wrap itself pretty neatly around. We saw it as vast, and in a relative way it was, but we've moved on. We've grown, one could say, as one would expect, on such a marvelous journey as this one we call life. Now, the point, for me, becomes to see through and shed those beliefs. We find that as they now stand, they comprise a veil preventing our perception from being unbounded, from being free. Something deep within pushes us ever onward, brooking no hindrance to flexing our perspective into any angle at all. We may even find some impatience in contemplating the same canned view generated by those beliefs. We know not where the inner push comes from, but we just know it's time to move on. What was perfectly fine, even exciting before, well, it just won't do anymore. In the midst of this process, we look up and notice how we've changed. This thread that ties us to our past gets thinner, more and more attenuated as we press on, simply following our bliss. We're surprised to discover that in the process of changing our angles of view on things, what is really changing is the self, our definitions around that. One might think the logical question would be, how untethered can you be? We might see this as the best way to proceed, but wait, that's pretty linear if you just look at it. What I find is called for is to not only release the self from all previous tethers, but also to remain grounded at the very same time. Go figure, huh? I find that our old ideas of what's possible and what is simply impossible are some of the first casualties of this journey. Heart tells me clearly that nothing is impossible, that anything is possible. Clearly, it does no good to project aspects of the current realm of duality out on the new that is there to discover. Why recreate that, huh? More and more, as I self-observe along the way, I note these tendencies to project the reality mind believes in onto the new discoveries. Well, that's an easy one to spot and a great help to see which belief is next in line to go poof, the next weed to be pulled. Elements both of projection and duality wear the clothing of the old ways. What are we? What are we to become? Indeed, are we even becoming? Just being, maybe. What lies up ahead? Answers to these turn into definitions, yet I find the current cycle one of removing all definitions, so I'll pass on such questions. What needs to be known is revealed as we go. You got that? I find knowledge that comes that way to be of greater depth, power, and expansiveness than anything a definition can contain. What am I? I just am. Try it on for size. See if it's enough for you. Now, it won't be for your mind, but that's not you, remember. This casting off of definitions excuse me, provides further help in gaining that healthy distance from mind. This current direction is anything but the one that mind would choose, given its freedom to do that, which I have firmly withdrawn. How much of not knowing can you tolerate? Look and see what part or aspects of you are made uncomfortable in the presence of this emptiness. Just watch. When it arises, you'll know just what to do, how to handle that. It just comes. And until it does, I find the best thing is just to observe. Your insides are far better than television, my friends. What can be discovered within you is simply unbounded, unlimited by anything at all, except those limits previously chosen, which you're in the midst of abandoning now, if you will. Seriously, what if, upon sufficient internal exploration, you were to find that you were a little g God? How would that be? Could you handle it? Sure you could. I tell you, it can be discovered in there, for it's the truth. You are multidimensional too, but this also will lie hidden until you fire the mind from its place of primacy there in your life. Given free rein, mind will lead into places it's already been, into areas it finds comfortable. Mind doesn't care for the unknown except as a challenge to convert it into the known. Well, duh. And that's a major reason we tend to repeat our mistakes. We keep believing that this time, if we just try a bit harder, we'll get it right. Well, how about we stand back away from that and have another look? With our recent development, chances are quite good we'll finally be able to see through this strategy of the mind. Upon the seeing, we will realize that we could try the old ways for eternity, and they will never deliver our heart's desires. They just can't. The old ways are all based on multiple illusions woven into the thread of our desires of the past. Excuse me, I just can't help it. I need a drink. Something's bugging my throat. Okay. The old ways are all based on multiple illusions woven into the thread of our desires of the past. Perhaps our desires are better educated now. I don't know. Actually, I don't try to think of what heart is or how it works. To me, that's a bit like trying to define God. The outcome is always deficient, guaranteed. It's akin to the first grade student trying to define what is known by the high school senior. And it's about that silly, too, and best left to the side. Dropping the old ways, that is best. Let's not try to fix or rehabilitate them. Just let them go. Wave them a fond goodbye and just walk on. There's nothing you need back there. Nothing you don't already contain. You contain all you need now and will ever require. You, turtle-like, bring it along wherever you find yourself. You are complete. We're just having some fun while playing as if we aren't really perfect, aren't really whole, but we are. That's coming to the forefront now in ways that just can't be ignored. It's as if we've made some sort of internal pact with our essence, our higher self, that at a certain and such time we'll start waking up. And so we are. As long as we adopt the left brain perspective on this, we'll likely be afraid of it. Yet that's also something that, upon self-observation, we can choose to alter or simply discard. At every note of fear that plays in your life, stop and quickly observe. You'll discover every time that the one in fear is your mind, not you at all. So the journey goes, taking more and more power back along the way as it arises. It's simply amazing, all the places and people and things in which we vested our power. Still, it's a great joy going in behind all that and unthreading it. And when we pull those threads of fear and such from the tapestry we're creating, oh, the massive beauty that's revealed. Right there where before we saw and experienced only fear, we now uncover joy. It's a wonder how that can be. I have no explanation for the how, just my contentment with the what. May you too find and uncover your internal joy. May you dig out from under every last bit of fear, only to discover the very godhood you are, my friend. I guess if we came in here with our wings completely free and unfurled, it just wouldn't have been the same adventure it has turned out to be. We would know too much. We wouldn't be welcomed by the natives either. Too bloody strange, even as we are, much less with all the makeup, the costumes, the illusions removed. We don't want to be worshipped, nor feared, nor seen as aught else than what they are too. Else the gift we bring could not be received. What do we bring? We bring our presence, friends, and it's enough. Even just one of us could have accomplished what needs to be done, much less the tens of millions of us that have appeared. Still, we are actually just one, just the one. So that's somehow fitting too, don't you think? For what you find strange or you're not sure of, I invite you to look to the transcript here. That may well help. The same light is in the written words, just carried differently, hidden behind or beneath the words. Written or spoken, the energy is the same. You are divine. May you be continually waking up to this every day, every moment, every now. Rediscover the innocent delight of a child. It's in there. May you sufficiently unplug from all that's limited, from all that you viewed as limited, so that your wings are cut free and unfurled. May you look in the mirror one day and be so shocked to discover that you're looking right into the eyes of God, and they are yours. Namaste. Right here, I have the medication to bring me ease. I have my pillows. I'm a pillow freak. I love down pillows. They're very cuddly. I even as a little kid, would grab up all the pillows in the house and make little pillow forts with them, and maybe a chair. It's just a very cozy thing. So I have that element of coziness. And so, and I have this lovely computer. It's one of the best pain relievers. If you have serious pain, to put on something that brings you joy. And so I lay down and I listen, and I'm telling you, my joy is not dimmed. Can you hear? We're all different, but we're all alike. And so the lovely saying, I don't know where it comes from, what man has done, man can do. We're all equal. Hi there. I have a written journal that I'll probably share with you, but you never know. What's on my heart right now is something I wish I could share and have it really be deeply heard. And that's that we create all of our unhappiness, not just 98% of it, all of it. And that any kind of fixing going on has to go on inside. I think cosmos and energy is neutral. There's nothing out there trying to do us harm. And the mind doesn't want to hear such things, because the mind is the inventor of the game, of the reality that we find ourselves in. And mind is generally pretty proud of itself, pretty self-satisfied. So it isn't usually open to such things, but that's quite okay. I mean, you can just leave mind behind and step into heart and listen from there. You have a better chance of truly hearing, because your happiness is in your own hands. But you have to prove it for yourself. I guess it's something that's been stated in various ways down through the millennia. But I have found it to be the case that even when I'm sitting here and this body is in pain, you know, maybe I got too involved in something I was doing, and I forgot to take a pain pill on its proper schedule. And so there's the pain, and it's kind of a misery. It stops me from doing something like this, or from writing a journal, or from even wanting to communicate. I mean, you know, pain has a tendency to shut us down. And yet, my dear friends, it doesn't dim my joy. I'm so happy. I have everything I need or want. And that includes all of the ETs and the angels and all of the beings and the ghosts and the whatever there is. We're all equal. We're all equally source. We're all manifestations of that. As working with humans, we have more opportunity to be this consciously. Now, I say that with hesitance, because nature is consciously one and in communion and in touch with each other and with that joy. The trees, the elephants, the plants, the planets, the suns, the molecules, all of it, manifestations of Source. We're free.